All right, everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about how you guys can most effectively / what the best build is for most effectively build / what the most effective build is for. Just completely skipped an entire word there. For the new characters, though. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Make sure that thumbs up and subscribe, as 80% of viewers aren't subscribed. And if you have any friends that play the game, make sure that you do share the videos with the friends. Your friends, excuse me. All right, so let's get into it. So, Kafka. We're going to talk about Kafka. We are also going... He looks so cool in the reindeer outfit. It's so silly. It's absolutely so silly. We're also going to talk about Narumi, of course. We're going to start here. So, Kafka, firstly, he's got this thing where he wants to get off his ultimate ASAP. He doesn't really have options for weapons, but he also has a dual focus. He really wants to have as much attack as possible. So, the good news is... this weapon is better in general. It has a higher base attack. This one pushes more attack. However, it gives him a combat skill damage dealt bonus. He doesn't really care much about that. So this one giving ultimate charge. This is the best possible weapon for him, as you'd imagine. This looks so silly. Oh, unbelievably silly. The little Christmas handgun. Especially the handgun always looks silly to me because they're fighting freaking kaiju, bro. Okay, maybe the super small ones would be impacted by this, but no. Anyway, otherwise, so the way you build Kafka, just to be very simple about this, is you build him the way you build Chester. You push as much attack as possible to him. On his uniparts, you want to get attack for the arms, for the gloves. You want to get ult charge here in the centerpiece, and you want to get speed on the right piece. Now, the question is, which Unipart set? That's where it's kind of fun, because this also applies to Chester. You could put on just any set, really. It doesn't truly matter. They're not going to get a ton of effectiveness out of it. The main things to consider when putting on a Unipart set for this character is the attack increase, right? The attack increase. So you ideally would have one that gives him the 47%. There's a few of them in here, like Fungal B as well. You ideally would get that. As a support character, you can put on one of the support styled ones in here. However, the Dark Horse is Ant-type. It gives HP, but it gives 20% ult charge. We don't care about the effect. We care about the ult charge. That's it. Now, I actually put this on my Chester. And my Chester, in my testing, I've said it before, I haven't really shown a video of specifically going over this since I made this change. And frankly, I'm not sure if I want to switch back or not. I don't really necessarily care. But he's pushing roughly about 100 or so less attack than he was before. However, he's able to get to his ultimate so much more consistently. It makes a humongous difference, right? And I can even get better parts on these front two. The foot part can be optimized. Of course, I want speed there. And so I think that really matters with a character like Kafka. Now, another thing with Kafka as well is he's got 2 single target buff effects. This one here, the simple present, is really strong. However, it can't be applied when to another ally. But it's mostly just for, you can use this on anybody, right? But it's easiest to proc on Narumi. And the reason why is because Narumi just eats 2 SP. So this is best there. However, again... you could put this on anybody. You could put this on Hikari. It's actually pretty good on Hikari, too, when she takes all those turns and stuff. Actually, when she takes those turns, I haven't used her in a week. She's able to use those skills, but she's not able to gain charge, right? Anyway, I'm not going to go over her too much here. But that being said, that's a good skill. The main thing about the ultimate, though, is that the ultimate increases the single target's attack. So this is a Chester effect. However, it's for a single target. But you can put it on more than one character. So if you're able to get to the ult faster, you can push this to another character. If you've got dupes, by the way, it extends another turn, which it becomes extremely valuable with that second dupe. So, yeah, I think it's really strong. But again, it's basically a baby Chester effect, just single target only. But the main thing with him is going to be the SP here. He does do a damage increase on the passive, right? Yeah, so this is another thing too. And this is another reason why it's actually really strong if you can push the gift to a second character. Gift to a second character is because they're able to get the ultimate damage off when they use their ultimate skill if they are in a gift or care package state. So he gives an extra damage dealt bonus there. And the rest of the stuff in here, also, if you happen to get more dupes of him, which you eventually will because he's not limited or anything like that, he starts really getting an easier time getting his ultimate. And that's because this is the most important part of his kit. 10 extra gauge there, flat, plus 25 here, flat. So this stuff becomes really important. He also, I think, started with the 60, right? Or was that Narumi? He starts with a turn order and a charge rate. So again, I think that's the most important thing. So to answer my question, attack as much as possible. It doesn't matter between flat or percentage. And then ult charge and then speed. And then I'm going ant is the answer, right? I want to get the ult charge. But you wouldn't be wrong if you went for an attack increasing one just to push more attack. But the way I see it is you'd push more attack, but less consistently, if that makes sense. Anyway, moving on from that, let's go ahead and now talk about Narumi. Let's talk about skills. If it wasn't clear, the ult is the most important skill, followed up actually not by the combat skill, because the combat skill is the least important skill to level up. Why? Because all it does is increases to a single ally. Wait, no, hold on. I thought this was Kafka's own combat skill damage. No, this actually is the second most important one. My bad. This makes sense. See, this is why he's like specifically for Narumi. Yeah, that makes sense. He's like quite literally a dedicated support for Narumi. It doesn't mean he wants to be his battle buddy, but he definitely wants to be on the team. Anyway, so it's ultimate, it's this one, and then passive is the third most important, and then from there it doesn't matter. So anyway, it would be nice if he had like an AoE follow-up or something else, but these two attacks are useless. And speaking of attack, his base attack stat is very low. Very low. It can go up a bit. He's going to be around like 15 or so when I put uniparts on, so it's not going to be very high. And that's why also it doesn't matter if it's percentage or not, because the base number is just so low, right? Anyway, moving on from that, on to Narumi. So Narumi is kind of, no, there's so many damn Narumis now. Look, there's two right here beside each other. So many Narumis. Also, I'm so annoyed at this. Why is he not shot type? I know why he's not. I know why he's not. It's because they didn't want to do that yet. But there's a spot for a third element there. What happens when characters are like quad element? What do? Put it on the character's face? Do they have to rework these and make them smaller? But there's clearly a spot in space for a third element there. It'll happen eventually. He does do a shooting motion in there somewhere. So anyway, look at this guy flipping the mini present. By the way, did you see in the story? This dude is such a cheater. I'm not going to spoil it. But he's such a cheater, dude. You got to check the story out, bro. So Narumi, if you don't have his primary weapon, which I actually don't, his next best weapon is, you could say it's the limited Narumi's weapon just for the pure damage. This is still going to be the best one. After the equipped unit uses a combat skill, gets extra shot damage. He doesn't care about that. He does slashes for the record, which is where like the other one doing shot damage. There's one that he has that is shot damage. It's one of the other two that I don't own from one of the shops or the battle pass. It does shot. We don't care about that. The battle pass one does crit rate, which is decent, but the effect on it, I think, was when there was 3 or fewer kaiju. I just hate that effect. It's fine. It's just okay. It's fine. Long story short, the next best one is the original Narumi's, in my opinion. And I'm going to build a second one because I apparently have enough dupes for a second one because, goddamn, this game loves giving dupes of old weapons. The original Narumi's weapon is the next best one because it has slash damage. Ding, ding, ding. He's a slash character. After the equipped unit activates a combat skill, gets damage dealt, which stacks. Ding, ding, ding. He is a combat skill-based character. And then most importantly, ultimate charge, right? So just like Kafka, he's another character that really wants to get his ultimates as much as possible. However, I'm not going to tell you to put Ant on him. But ult charge is actually really strong. But again, his own weapon is the best one. Moving on from that, let's talk about the skills, and then we'll come back to the uniparts after. So for him, the ultimate is important. However, what does this max out at? What's the max number on this? I'm not sure what the max number is on that. However, the most important skill is going to be the combat skill. This is your priority. Push this to level 10 first. Then follow with the ultimate. Then follow with the passive. You could flip the ultimate and passive if you would like to, but the combat skill is your number one priority for level 10 because this is his entire kit is the combat skill. It consumes 2 SP, so it better be worth it, and it is if he's able to use it effectively. It's just so the only problem I have with him is that eating 2 SP, even though he replaces it, when he uses the ultimate, he gets the SP right here, right? And then Kafka also can give him 2 SP. Fine, right? With Kafka, it's not a problem. But when there is no Kafka, it's kind of hard because it's a wash, right? So you're not getting that SP back either because you never want to use his normal ever because it's just terrible. It's not terrible. It's just it is what it is. So it's kind of a wash. He's pretty SP hungry otherwise. But with Kafka, it's not a problem. Like you actually have a surplus because Kafka's +2. He gives himself +2. So it's fine. Anyway, so this is the entire kit. This is your priority for leveling. This is your most important skill that you want to be investing in. Moving on, let's go ahead and take a look at the Unipart set. So Uniparts are pretty fun on him, actually. And by the way, this is the one that has the ult charge at the start, or just flat ult gain, 60. Destroying a plate, crit damage goes up. The ultimate gives him buffs and advances his action order as well. So it pushes him straight to the front so he can throw the combat skill. And that's why it also gives him 2 SP. So if he didn't have 2 SP, he's now able to immediately use that 2 SP right back up. Again, if you happen to be at a point where you're at 0, it's cool that he can give himself 2, but you're going to go right back to 0. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of wonky. But again, Kafka fixes that problem. So it is what it is. The Uniparts are kind of fun on him because he's another one of those characters where, for consistency's sake, especially without the first dupe, his base crit rate is 32%. So for consistency's sake, he's another character that just automatically screams Lizard. So you would put Lizard on him and you'd be fine. Before activating the ultimate, it gets a damage dealt bonus too. Okay, fine, right? It stays on. It'll be effective for the combat skill. Perfect. However, and what you could do for the body parts, you could do crit rate, but oftentimes when I put Lizard on, I put crit damage on the body part. And then if I do fungal, I do the opposite. Speaking of fungal, there is a fungal type B weapon or Unipart set. This is not for him. This right now, it could be good on some of the 4 stars, but I don't really care about that. Right now, among 5 stars, it's like only for Kikaru. It might be for the upcoming Kikaru or upcoming Akari, I don't know, but the weapon number 2 Kikaru, it's only for her. Like quite literally. I actually am not sure which set is better for her now. Because this fits her perfectly. Between this, Armored, there's another set that she works well with too. I don't remember which one, but Spider, right? Spider. So it's not for him, but base fungal is also good. Base fungal is really good, especially if you've got crit rate. However, the argument once again becomes with a base of 32, right? Hear me, base of 32. His best battle buddy is Hoshina. His best team is Hoshina, Chester, Kafka. For the record, that is his best team. Hoshina, Chester, Kafka. With Hoshina and Chester, they're pushing crit rate. Do you need Lizard? No, you're going to exceed 100%, which does nothing for you. So at that point, I would go fungal. If that is a team you're trying to run, I would go fungal, and I would put crit rate on the body part to make up for this whatever little minor slack is there, right? And that's the way you do that. And so again, for consistency's sake and more freedom with the character, Lizard is the best set. Right? Especially if you don't plan on using either Hoshina or Chester or both, right? So, because if you're going to swap him in like some super souped up team or triple Narumi or whatever the hell you're trying to do, it's not going to work as efficiently. But he's another one of those characters, and this has been the case for like all the damage dealers. It's kind of funny. Exact same thing for Hikari. Exact same thing for like the other characters before that. All the damage dealers wind up being better with fungal just because of the crit damage. And they can sacrifice maybe not critting every now and again. And then we have straggler sets like Kadada here, which is good. Yeah, it's good. But, like it just is what it is, right? Maybe if it had the 48% attack or something like that, it just is what it is. It has a better crit rate on it, I guess, but it is what it is. So anyway, the thing with fungal though, fungal A, by the way, not B, is that, again, it still gives you that damage dealt there too. So you could really use either of those 2 sets and be perfectly fine. And that news fungal set is not for him because he's not a debuff based character. Like it could maybe be good on like Reno, I guess. But or maybe even Saga. No, I would still keep her in Bovine for the defense. It's very niche. And the problem with that is that even if it's like magically the best set for Reno, I'm not putting it on Reno. Why? Why? Because the Unipart system is so ass, bro. It's just too bad. Like, I'm just not going to switch characters if it's not for me testing and doing a video on it, like I'm going to be doing with Kikaru at some point. So that is everything you need to know about these new characters. Again, there are 2 more new characters at minimum. These 2 girls, they are going to be coming out as playables, and we'll see what happens with them. Apparently, Kikaru is a support, so that could be kind of fun. Is she a 5-star healer? I don't know. That could be kind of good. So I would still recommend saving and waiting, even though I went and did summons. That's just me. Don't do what I did. Just listen to what I say, not do what I do. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.